Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Ringside Recap. I am your host, Ninja the Ninja, and let's get started with a brand new episode of the house that The Rock built, Friday Night SmackDown. So guys, welcome back to a new episode for this week. We are freshly off Monday Night Raw, which was a pretty good, eventful Raw this past Monday. And now we are in a brand new week for Friday, coming off a monstrous last Friday episode when we have Randy Orton just absolutely snapping on Cody Rhodes last Friday, which literally broke the internet. I mean, as soon as it happened, you see all of the memes and jokes of everything that was happening within last Friday. And it kind of makes me very curious on what's going to happen tonight. Because Randy said he's going to address on why he attacked Cody. But I'm pretty sure it's like he's just going to say, like, I'm just putting my stamp, on him and making it seem like, I'm still the best. I can still keep up with all the rest of you. I think that's what's gonna happen. And then we have a couple of tag team championship matches between Lash and Nia versus the Bella Twins, which I don't care about the Bella Twins really winning a championship. So I hope Lash and Nia keep it. And then you also have Damian Priest and Truth going for the men's tag team championship tonight. And there's a couple of little things I saw on Instagram earlier about what's going on tonight, but those really caught my attention earlier today. So guess we're going to see how this is going to turn out for that. But after all that, let's get started with the show. So guys, the show opens up with Jelly Roll coming on later on tonight to say something to Kit Wilson, but as Jelly Roll was pulling up, a whole bunch of referees and just random backstage people came running to a car, which the car had Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu battling out in the car, and they're just going at it for a little while. And then a couple minutes later, Drew comes out and basically just Drew being Drew. I mean, him just saying, his regular old spiel, how he was, once again screwed from the championship and yada yada yada. Really ain't too much here and there. And then GM Nick Aldis come out and basically threatened Drew McIntyre that he was gonna get fired due to the fact of his actions against Jacob that did happen a couple minutes ago. And then Jacob comes back from the back and him and Drew just go back at it once again, and they're just going back and forth. And then eventually Jacob puts Drew on the announce table and Jacob crashes into it with Drew McIntyre. So within the first 15 minutes of the show, the announce table has already been destroyed. So I guess Joe and Wade are just gonna have to be sitting at the chairs for the rest of the 3-hour show. But it was okay. It was an okay little segment. I'm assuming they're gonna lead them two up to WrestleMania, the way how they've been going back and forth. But it was okay segment. I feel like they're trying to bring this hype so it can be hype for the rest of the show. For especially like Randy's part at the end of the show, I'm pretty sure. But it was okay. It was okay. So guys, the first match of the night was for the men's tag team championships. We had Damian Priest and R-Truth going against the MFTs, Tama Tonga and JC Mateo. And the match was okay. I'll give it a good 6 out of 10 at the most. It was like a regular old tag team match, but Solo and the rest of the MFT had to come out and distract Damien and Truth during the match, but also the Wyatt Six came out to help get rid of the rest of the MFT members, and the distraction from all of them ended up causing the other two MFT members the match, which made Damien and Truth the new men's tag team champions. And I was not expecting that from them so early, because they only competed as a tag team for only 3 shows. So I guess that's good. Congratulations to them. And then we get a quick little interview with Kathy and the Bella Twins, and the Bella Twins just telling Kathy, it's been a while, and we the ones who made the women's tag team division, and no matter if we win or lose, we're still gonna be good. Then Alexa and Charlotte came and basically told the Bellas that they're selfish because that should have been their title shot opportunity. And yeah, that was it for that. Really nothing too special. And then we also get Danhausen and Candice and Johnny. Johnny is still planking on a storage box. I don't know how long that's gonna last with that. And then Danhausen was like, I can help you get Johnny out. And Candice was like, oh yeah. But Danhausen was like, yeah, for $20 I can help you out. So Candice gives $20 to Danhausen, and Danhausen runs with her money. And that was it. Don't know why we needed that segment, but I guess we might see what he's gonna do with that later. I don't know. So y'all, we get a quick little Sammy, and he just going on and about Cody, about him, not understanding about how Cody won the championship, and he feels like, well, everything I do, something happens, something go bad. Every time you see him, he's complaining about something. So then we also get another Trick Williams pop up, and him and Sammy just goes back and forth. And I'm gonna assume that them two are gonna have a match next week. And that was it. Once again, Trick is wearing the white fur, white pants look. Please, someone in the dressing department, please find him a different color. But then the next match of the night was the Motor Machine Guns versus Fraxium. And that match was an okay match. I give it a 6 out of 10. You had 2 high-flying tag teams just going around the ring. And then Candice ended up hitting one of the Fraxium team members and causing them the match for Motor Machine Guns to pick up the win. And that was it. So y'all, we get Randy's quick little segment, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, he really didn't say much other than, him crossing Cody and the reason why he crossed Cody. And, Cody always viewed him as like, I don't know, just like, let's do this together and this, that, and the third. And, I want my legacy to be championship material. I want to get number 15, which it is nothing wrong with that. and I hope he does get number 15. And yeah, he didn't really say nothing too much, just him being Randy, saying that he hears the voices in his head and the voices are telling him to do what he needs to do to get number 15. So that was it. Nothing too much there. I thought he was going to say a little bit more, or I expect a little bit more. I thought he was going to go in detail on who he made the call to last week. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see later on. So, y'all, the show comes back to Randy walking to the back, and Randy gets stopped by Matt Cardona. And Matt Cardona is like, Randy, what happened out there? You and Cody used to be friends, and this, that, and the third. And Randy just rips one into Matt, and then ends up ambushing Matt, and then tells Matt to get out his business. So that was that. And then we have a quick little match between Sami Zayn and Aleister Black. And Trick Williams came out to watch the match. And, of course, Trick ended up causing distractions for Sami. And Sami lost the match to Aleister Black because he capitalized on the distraction. And the match was okay. Another okay match. I'm going to give it probably another 6 out of 10. Regular match. Nothing too exciting for me. But, yeah, that was an okay match. And then we get back to GM Nick Aldis talking to Matt Cardona, and Matt Cardona wants a match with Randy, and Nick is like, I got a lot of stuff going on. I can't deal with that right now. Talk to me later. So then Carmelo Hayes come out and try to talk to Nick, and Nick tells Carmelo the U.S. Championship Open Challenge is closed for today because someone made a compelling argument on why they should be champion next. So then Dragunov comes around, and him and Dragunov are having this back and forth thing when Carmelo is trying to encourage Dragunov and going for the championship. And I think Dragunov had finally found his spark, so I'm assuming that Dragunov and Carmelo are gonna have a match soon. So yeah, that was that. So y'all, we get another Jade and Rhea Ripley segment of them going in the ring, of them going back and forth. And Jade is saying, I don't need this title, I don't need wrestling, I don't need your fans, I'ma still be good regardless. She says all that and more stuff. And then Rhea was like, basically, why are you even here for if you don't need nobody and this, that, and the third? And that title doesn't need you because it needs me. So they go back and forth. And, Rhea's like, let's do this. Let's fight right now. Let's do it. And Jade's like, you know what? No, we're going to do this on my time. So Jade starts backing up the ramp. And then Meechin and BFAB comes around. But this is what shocked me. Them two plus Jade started to crowd the ring, and basically all of them jump Rhea, which I am confused about because Meechin and Jade literally had a match against each other last week, and now they're somehow all of them together are a group, and I thought they hated Jade. So I guess maybe next week they're gonna go on and try to explain on how they just became friends or associates at some point. I don't know. And then we get a quick little Kit Wilson, Danhausen, and The Miz segment. And Kit Wilson is just going around saying stuff about Jelly Roll, and the Miz is like, I can't be your mentor because something about him and Kit being mentor and mentee. And then Danhausen pops around and reminds the Miz that he is cursed. And then all the ladders around them starts falling, and it end up hitting Miz in the face. So that was that. Really nothing too exciting. And I'm not sure about y'all, but I honestly, it's starting to get on my nerves a little bit that we still have not seen Danhausen wrestle yet. I mean, you just been going show to show every week just saying you're cursed. I'm like, okay, well, can you get in the ring and do something? You're just, I don't know. It's getting annoying to me. So, I'm not sure about y'all, but I'm ready to see something different already with him. Then we get a little segment between Solo, Sokoa, and the rest of MFT. Basically, Solo is fussing at the group because they lost to Damien in Truth. And Solo is like, well, there goes our roll to WrestleMania. Guess we're not going to have no championships to WrestleMania because all of you, because y'all fought and this, that, and the third. But then JC is like, well, we still got the lantern. And they're both just looking at each other stupidly. And then Tama is like, you know what? You starting to sound like Roman. So then them two had to stare down. And then Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu just come out of nowhere and started beating each other once again. And the backstage crew had to separate them again. And that was it for that. So, y'all, we have a match for the U.S. Men's Championship between Carmelo and Dragunov. And I was thinking they were going to hold this for WrestleMania, but they end up doing it now, which I was kind of not really happy about. But now I am happy that they done this. This match was a 10 out of 10. Definitely the best match of the night. I mean, a lot of back and forth, a lot of fake finishes at the end of the match. Them two put it on for the show. This is definitely the match of the night. Carmelo and Dragunov are probably the best two wrestlers right now on SmackDown. That keeps it interesting for the wrestling and technical work of it. But these two, 10 out of 10. I need to see more Carmelo and Dragunov go against each other in the future. So then we get a Jelly Roll and Randy Orton segment, and Jelly's like, I don't know who that was last week. I don't know if the voices were just talking to you too much, but the real Randy I know is a family man. He knows that money comes and goes and titles come and go, but family is forever. You need to go make it up with Matt Cardona and just make things right. And Randy's like, you know what, Jelly, you're right. I'm gonna go find Matt Cardona and make it right. So, you know how this is gonna work. Randy is gonna end up beating the mess out of Matt probably tonight. But, we'll see. So, the next thing that happened tonight, we had Jelly Roll and Kit Wilson. Jelly Roll and Kit Wilson is going back and forth. And Jelly Roll was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's fight. You've been talking all that trash about me. Had me come to North Carolina and all you want to do is just talk. That's it. And Kit was like, no, let's do slam poetry. So Kit Wilson literally starts throwing all insults to Jelly Roll, and it ends up attacking Jelly Roll. So Kit Wilson versus Jelly Roll WrestleMania? Probably. So then we end up having a little segment with Kiana James, Julia, and them two going around how saying that Tiffany Stratton disrespect them, and Julia is going to have a match with Tiffany next week. And then Chelsea Green comes out and tries to recruit both of them to her team, and they both said no. And that was it with that segment. And then Nia ends up pushing Chelsea in the wheelchair away. So, I don't know. So, y'all, the final match of the night was for the Women's Tag Team Championship against Nia, Lash, and the Bella Twins. And the match, it was okay. It was kind of boring. The match ended up being a DQ because Charlotte Flair got in between Nia, because Nia about to hit one of the Bellas with a championship belt, and Nia and Lash Legend end up destroying all the girls in the ring. So that was that. And then we get a little peek of Randy on the phone with someone saying that they're gonna be there tonight. So I guess we're gonna see who that is. And then we're also gonna have Jelly Roll versus Kit Wilson next week on SmackDown. And this is another match that I wish they will hold out until WrestleMania, 'cause I think it would have been a little bit better. But that's just my opinion. Alright, everyone, we are at the last segment of the night, and it was Randy basically calling out Matt Cardona to give him an apology. He was saying earlier to Matt Cardona that, he plays action figures in video games, and Randy's like, you know what, dude? I also collect action figures, and I also play video games from time to time, I'm sorry. My head has been a mess the past couple weeks. I don't know what's right anymore. I don't know what's going on in my brain of mine. And he just goes on and on and on. And, you're like, come on, man, let's hug it out. And then Randy kicks Matt in the Royal Jewels. So then starts beating up Matt, and he tries to do what he tried to do to Cody, but security and Nick Aldis came out and stopped him. But somehow he managed to get Matt back into the ring and had his arm between the chair, and he stumped on it. And quote unquote probably broke Matt's arm. And then the fans was chanting one more time, and Nick was like, no. So then they started pushing Randy back, and then in the background they showed a camera, and they end up being once again Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre just fighting off of this like ledge of like a building, kind of. Not even like a building, maybe like a little like, I don't know, it kind of looked like one of those little trailers like people who be doing construction in, you know what I'm saying? They was on the ledge of that, and they was end up just, beating each other, and then they both end up falling back into something, and the show cuts off from there. So that was the end of the show. I guess we're going to see next week what is going to happen about that. And I could have sworn that they said about Randy that someone was going to come tonight for Randy, or maybe next week. I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and watch it, because I don't remember if he said tonight or next week. But anyway, that was the end of the show for tonight. In all, I will give this show, I'll give it like a 6. No, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It had its good moments, and it had like its boring times. It was definitely not like how it was last week. But it was an okay show. It was an okay show. But after all that, I would like to thank y'all for listening and hanging out with me today. And I would like to know some of y'all opinions and comments and just anything that you have about what's going on right now in SmackDown or on Raw. and I will definitely comment back to y'all. So make sure y'all like and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend, whoever likes wrestling, so maybe we can chat back and forth. But after all that, make sure y'all love one another, be blessed, and mental health matters.